Oh, hi. You just caught me looking at me wargame research group army lists. I'm trying to sort out the points for a game, and I know that my great feared I can have 0 to 12 points, but only after 10, 11. So I've got a lot of work to do. I don't know if you remember when wargame rules required an academic degree of some sort. Let me show you this. Wargames Research Group. So, of all the things that happen in a big battle, how important, on a scale of 1 to 10, do you think disorder is on movement? I mean, you could just say, throw a d6. And that's how far you move out of your 6. You might say, knock one off. You know, remove a centimetre, an inch. Have a disordered march number. 3/4. Not according to Wargames Research Group 1976, you don't. That is all just about movement disorder. Let me read you a bit. Okay, this is only disorder. Super heavy knights, super heavy cataphracts, extra heavy knights, extra heavy medium cavalry, light cavalry, super heavy infantry, extra heavy infantry, medium infantry, light heavies, man-handled light bolt shooting artillery, ox-drawn carts, siege towers, horse-drawn carts, pack mules multiples of 2 for each 24 human porters. I kid you not, it's all there. Every man is worth a 33rd. So, if you kill a man, you've got to make a note. You've got a big pad of paper, and you've got to say, oh, that's 1/33. Later on, Wargames Research Group went to, they helped us out. They felt sorry for us. They'd seen all of these wargamers in intensive care and said, how can we ease their mental burden? And they said, instead of it being 1/33 for a figure, for a casualty, so our figures were 33, we made it 1/15. So when you kill 15 hits, when you get 15 hits, you take a figure off. It made your head hurt. When you wanted to charge, for example, I want to charge. So something like today, Shaco, you charge, off you go. It's your turn, you got initiative, off you go. Not Wargames Research Group. In my memory, in the 70s, you would look at the whole table of factors. Are you ordered? What class are you? Are you uphill? Are you downhill? What's the weather like? Are you tired? Have you won a battle? Friends within 12 inches. Retiring. Friends within 12 inches. Attacking. Support. Rear support. Plus and minus and average dice. To give you that little sense of not knowing. Ability of commander. And then after all that, they give you a number. And you'd have to get that number, and then you could charge. And you think, oh great, I'm charging. Whoa, no you're not. Wait a minute. Because your opponent then has another chart, not the same chart, a different chart, to receive the charge. What do? So they do that, they might run away, they might panic. They might stand panicked. They might try and evade. They might countercharge. Then you think, all right, charging, I'm in. No, because I've got to do a table for impact. Charging home. Because for all that, you might not charge home. And it's another massive table with all these questions to answer. And they try and condense it onto one sheet. So this huge book becomes one piece of beige card printed so small on either side, you need binoculars to read it. You've got to get your magnifying glass out or your binoculars, look at it like that. And then you realise you've not taken the lens caps off your binoculars, and that's why you can't see anything. Madness. It's fun, isn't it, though? We loved it. But then but then you had other rules came in, like Arthur Taylor's rules, Bill Lamming's rules, but Donald Featherston's rules. But everyone seemed fixed on accuracy. And the way to get accuracy was to have more and more factors. Which way's the wind blowing? What did he have for breakfast? Where was he born? Because the lad might be feeling a bit sickly. But it all became really hard work. So when Dungeons and Dragons came along, the way they calculate, wisdom, 3d6, intelligence, if you're, a cleric, you might have 4d6. You go, I don't know, it's adding up. It's all adding up. And factors, stuff, measuring that you have things, factors you've never heard of. And then random weird dice started appearing to make life even more complicated. These games require a D8, D10, D12, D20 percentage dice. I've got dice with smiley faces on and grumpy faces, so you know what people's moods are. Wow. Weather, direction. You can't just say that's north anymore. Oh, it's north. You have to throw a dice. Random directions for when you're lost in the fog. It's got an arrow in it, throw it, and it points back the way you've came. And you go, oh. To be honest, I quite like them. But rules were so complex. And the people that made them were complex. But then people started to make wacky rules. And we got crazy rules as people try to push the boundaries. I think they tended to be fantasy rules, to be honest. Managed to it. It's just fairly typical of the sorts of things we had. But in here, if you're attacking and you've got ladders or siege towers up against the walls of Manus Tirith, you toss a coin, and heads, it gets knocked down, and tails, it stays up. If eagles attack anything, they win. You don't throw dice. Eagles attack that. That's Mordor. That's a group of Mordor troops. You have a little square with eagles on. They attack that. That's gone. No argument. There was a game that had... There's one game that had a vortex. And if you played the vortex spell, your enemy's entire army could disappear. I played it once. Luckily, I wasn't on the side that suffered. But we had a massive army at this club we were at. And this guy had the wizard's vortex card and played it on a guy's army. And this lad's army ends up in another dimension. Just put him back in the box and went home. It was horrible. It wasn't wargaming. There was one where you could have a big foot. I know later on, Games Workshop had a game where you got a big green foot with red toenails. But this was before that. And it could come down and stamp you and walk along, stamping on everybody underneath it. And it wasn't just one foot, it went for a walk. And then there was a game where you could conjure a deity. An entire god appeared, burst through the earth. The ever-hungry lord. Or an elemental. Earth, wind, fire, water. And they just destroy everything. Because you just stood there with your little sword. And a massive water elemental bursts into the air. And you imagine you've got a sort of 25 mil figure. And these elementals were like 6 inches tall. They were huge. Nasty things. Stone elemental, made out of rock. How do you kill a giant that's only made out of rock? or fire. What are you going to do? Don't say that. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, small boy guttural humour. What you're thinking then about how to put out a fire elemental. No. Maybe that's all you've got. That's your option. Yeah. Rules were exciting back in the 70s. Ta-ra, Chuck.